If you own a waterfront home in the Finger Lakes, then you already know this isn't just real estate. It's legacy, it's lifestyle, and it surely is limited inventory. And when you're preparing to sell, the margin for error can be massive. I've seen sellers leave tens and sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table simply because the strategy wasn't aligned with the uniqueness of lakefront property. So today, I'm walking you through the top 8 mistakes to avoid when selling your waterfront home in the Finger Lakes so you can protect your equity and position your property correctly from day one. Hi, my name is Susan Glens. I am the founder and team leader of the Bespoke Homes team with Keller Williams Realty. We are a top 1% real estate team in the greater Rochester and Finger Lakes area of New York. Committed to helping our clients sell profitably and confidently. And if you are a homeowner considering selling in the next 6 to 12 months, then you've come to the right place. Let's jump right in. The top 8 mistakes to avoid when selling your waterfront home in the Finger Lakes. And while these are in no particular order per se, the first and last are my favorites. So, mistake number 1, hiring an agent without waterfront expertise. Listen, I understand that they're your friend or your friend's friend, but if they focus on selling the suburbs and you have a unique waterfront gem, how certain are you that they will be able to effectively communicate the unique aspects of your home to potential buyers? Can they assess the true value of your property, taking into consideration the slope of your frontage, views, parking, access to public utilities, and whether or not it's seasonal or year-round? Do they understand the value of a deep water dock or the difference between permanent and removable docks? Does your agent understand the difference between the west side and the east side of the lake? Do they know how algae conditions impact buyer perception? Can they explain the nuances of a holding tank septic system versus an aerobic septic system, or a submersible pump for lake water versus a service-mounted pump? Are they familiar with short-term rental regulations that affect the area? And what is their level of expertise around the separate set of tax considerations for luxury price points, which are abundant on the lake, like whether it be luxury tax, capital gains tax, or sales tax for personal property? How knowledgeable are they about the luxury financing options available to prospective buyers? I could go on and on, so I'll simply end it here. Waterfront homes require specialized knowledge, so be sure that you partner with an agent who comes with that expertise. Be sure that they speak the language of waterfront homes, because their expertise is your expertise when selling, and it directly impacts your bottom line. Mistake number 2, as I look out my window right now and see an abundance of snow, listing in the winter without a plan, okay? Many lake properties have steep slopes to the water, multiple staircases, or challenging access from the road, right? And so ice and snow and limited daylight can make showings difficult and sometimes unsafe. And so while there are some buyers that may be shopping for a second home, others are actually looking for year-round living. And if the home doesn't show well in winter conditions, you may be unintentionally shrinking your buyer pool. Seasonality matters on the lake, and timing should be strategic, not rushed. And if you must list your home in the winter, be sure to partner with an agent that cracks a plan and takes into consideration all of those things we just talked about. So mistake number 3, missing the fall market. So let's stick with the theme of seasons for a second and move on to mistake number 3, which is skipping the fall market. Did you miss the summer market and assume that you need to wait until next spring to list your lake house? The fall market in the Finger Lakes can be incredibly powerful. The lakes are calm, the crowds thin out, and the foliage is breathtaking. Serious buyers are still actively looking, often with stronger motivation to close before year end and ensure that they can capitalize on the following summer season. Fall allows buyers to experience the lake in a more peaceful, intimate setting. And for many waterfront homes, it's actually one of my favorite times to list. Mistake number 4, failing to properly mark the property as a waterfront in the MLS. This is such a small one and such a powerful one that can cost you thousands. There's a simple, you may not know this, there's a simple yes or no field in the multiple listing service that can indicate whether a home is waterfront. And it's something that the agents simply have to check a box. And if that box is marked incorrectly, your home may never appear in searches for buyers specifically looking for waterfront property. In fact, when I purchased my own lake home on Canandaigua Lake 8 years ago, the listing agent had marked it incorrectly and it wasn't marked waterfront. So it sat on the market with low traffic and I secured it for $25,000 under list price in a seller's market. Think of how many buyers were specifically searching for waterfront and never saw it hit their radar. That was literally a gift for me as the buyer. So all that to say, details matter, especially in waterfront and luxury real estate. Let's stay on the detail track with mistake number 5, inaccurately reporting waterfront footage. So when it comes to lakefront property, the land itself carries significant value. And as I always say, God isn't making any more waterfront land, right? And when you couple that with the fact that in the Finger Lakes, many properties stay within families for generations, it creates a lot of scarcity, and you can see why the value of land is so high. So on Canandaigua Lake, for example, frontage can range anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 or more per foot, depending on slope, accessibility, and beach quality. So if you have 50 feet of flat, usable frontage at $20,000 a foot, that's $1 million in land value alone. Miss 5 feet in your measurement, and that could be a $100,000 error. Precision is not optional when it comes to marketing your waterfront home. Let's move on. Mistake number 6. Assuming a public open house is always the right strategy. A public open house is not a strategy for every property, and especially not for many waterfront homes. Around the Finger Lakes, parking can be limited, and some properties have steep driveways or narrow lake roads to access that property. And an open house that attracts heavy traffic due to high demand, right, can actually unintentionally highlight logistical and parking challenges rather than the lifestyle benefits. So your guests may feel that they can't have the parties that they want to have, right? And that really highlights that. So for luxury or waterfront homes, private qualified showings are often a more strategic approach to take. Mistake number 7, being inflexible with personal property. Many Finger Lakes homes are second homes or short-term rentals, and sellers often market them as turnkey and fully furnished. And while that can be appealing, the highest paying buyer may want a year-round residence and have no interest in inheriting your 20-year-old couch. So the ultimate lesson is be flexible on your terms to attract and secure the best buyer. And if that means getting rid of your stuff, that means getting rid of your stuff. All right, and last but certainly not least, my personal favorite, mistake number 8, hiring someone who isn't passionate about waterfront living. You see, selling a lake house isn't just about square footage, it's about storytelling. Buyers connect emotionally to lake homes. They imagine generations of memories, 4th of July fireworks, ring of fire traditions, quiet early morning paddleboarding, and sunset boat rides. On Canandaigua Lake, for example, that might mean boating south for a lobster roll at Nolan's Lakeside Snack Shack, tying up at Kershaw Park for the sandy North End shoreline, paddling around Skano Island, or docking for a sunset drink at the sandbar. That lifestyle matters. Can your agent cast that vision? In terms of the broader Finger Lakes area, do they know how special our wine country truly is? In my opinion, it rivals that of Sonoma Valley and Napa Valley in California in terms of the views and vistas. Do they truly understand how rare our farm-to-table food scene is? Can they point out all of the popular spots and landmarks around the lake? Choose someone who can articulate all of this, because when buyers feel it, they pay for it. So find an agent that's just as passionate about your home and the area as you are. Waterfront homes in the Finger Lakes are rare assets, and the strategy behind selling them should reflect that. If you're ready to start your home selling journey and you're seeking expert guidance from someone who is willing to have the tough conversations to create clarity and empower you to move forward, as well as someone that has experience selling lake homes, click the link below to connect with my team and get started today. And if you're a discerning homeowner in the greater Rochester and Finger Lakes area and you found this content valuable, hit the like button. You can also subscribe for more content just like this. And if you'd like, leave a comment below to share with us any topics or questions that you want us to answer in the future. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.